My name's Andrew Fiddler, the owner and broker of LaPlante Real Estate. Today is October 3rd, 2024, and I'm making today's video to discuss this strange letter that came in the mail. Now, this letter originates from the Lucas County Auditor's Office. This is the department that tracks all of the values and attributes relating to real estate inside of Lucas County. So this is who maintains that Lucas County AREIS website, AREIS, the Auditor's Real Estate Information System that we all should use on a daily basis to look at deals and see the characteristics and then all of the historical transactions that occur. Now, the Auditor's Office processes a review of the real estate values on a 3-year cycle, a triennial review. And then every other review, they don't just do like a blanket evaluation across the county. They do an in-depth per property and neighborhood review of how real estate values have changed. You can imagine that the 6-year review has some very large changes that can occur. Anita Lopez is the former Auditor's Office commissioner, I think, whatever she's the head of the Auditor's Office. But Anita, 6 years ago, got into a big struggling match with the county and the state of Ohio because she did not want her 6-year review to drastically change real estate values, and the market was soft enough that she was able to do it. Now we have a new auditor. This is Miss Katie Moline, CPA. I have not personally met her yet, but her office is now going through their own 6-year review. And with the real estate market as strong as it is, we're looking at some very large changes. Now, our job as investors is to minimize our taxes, right? Tax avoidance is illegal. Tax minimization is perfectly legal. The tool at our disposal and I'll just look at one of my documents right here. You can see I've got a whole bunch of these silly things to mess around with. But on my document, you can see I had a value of $13,000 moving up to $24,000. Thankfully, I bought this thing back in 2010. This is actually the first single-family home that my wife and I purchased. And as a result, it is kind of still grandfathered into the old pricing. And you can see that they didn't just bring it up to the current market. They're still kind of just multiplying the original number by a certain amount. So your prices creep up slowly is the message, and they will always lag the market. I don't ever see the real estate value from the county standpoint getting bullish and overshooting. And the reason for that is the tool at our disposal. We have a mechanism called a board of revision. So they have 1 in 3 years to have a triennial review. We have a 1 in 3 year opportunity to meet with a board. It's 4 folks on a Zoom call. They're real estate professionals, and you will have your day in court, essentially, to provide sale documents, to provide comps, and argue why your property value shouldn't be the number as issued. The notable item is, if you purchased your property from grandma, that's not an arm's length transaction. It doesn't qualify. Same with foreclosures. After the big foreclosure crisis, 2008, 2009, foreclosures were removed from valuation. And you think about it from the standpoint of an appraiser, and for mortgages to ever try to recover and support homeowners, they couldn't have this anchor point of the foreclosure crisis in the 2008, 2009. So those are removed from consideration. So if you got a great steal on a foreclosure, you have to acknowledge that they will get you close, but they were not required to match that purchase price. Now, a perfect arm's length transaction is one that is listed on the MLS. It is open for anybody to bid, and then you come in and purchase the property. My family and I purchase properties that have been on the market for the MLS, but they've kind of lingered there. As a result, you'll kind of see some reductions. The translation is I end up with sale prices that are rock solid. They're non-negotiable as far as the auditor's office. They have to accept that sale price. And because it was a public, it was a public transaction, it was an arm's length transaction. It was at arm's length. You were not related to the person selling, nor was it a distressed property. Now, the standpoint of the Board of Revision, you could do that once every 3 years, and it's a big, arduous pain in the keister. You're going to end up being on a Zoom call. You have some paperwork to prepare. However, with this specific rotation of the property values, we have a get-out-of-jail-free card. On the right side of your page, right there, is the website, which is what I use, or you can dial in the telephone number. They have all staff are available, and the auditor's office is superb with customer service and kind of explaining the situation to homeowners and investors that don't do this every day. But you are perfectly capable of, and you are very encouraged, there's really no downside, to request a review of your property value. That said, about the only thing I can think in my mind is that you purchased a property for $100,000. They want to raise the property to $88,000. You should probably leave sleeping dogs lie on that one. Other than that, if you feel that your value is not logical, then you need to request an adjustment. In this specific case, my $13,000 to $24,000 in a $100,000 neighborhood is going nowhere. This one is not going to be appealed. If you have done a Board of Revision, which I've done, I do a series of those every time I kind of conclude my portfolio for the calendar year. I review what those prices were and what the auditor's office wants the property tax to be. And you get a decision on that date, on that year. Now, in 2 more years, when they try to do the triannual, because that's what they did to me, they mailed me increases for properties that I had done Board of Revisions on. Each one of those, all you have to do now is the web form to direct the department to recognize that you had already gone through this process and they need to match that. Shouldn't be a big deal, per my conversation with the auditor's office. Let's see, you are still, so normally a Board of Revision is going to negate your right to request a review for the next 3 calendar years. However, due to the cycle, in January, they reset their 3-year cycle for Board of Revisions. So your use of that web form, your request for an informal review of the property, which will not require a Zoom call, that really won't inconvenience you at all, but also you won't get the ability to kind of speak to a group of people. They're just kind of doing them quick and simple, because you can imagine the entire county is requesting value adjustments. But you can still do a full-fledged Board of Revisions appeal in January. You have to have those requested by the end of March, and then they schedule those kind of rolling, probably 30 days after you request. That's when they'll schedule you. Let's see, as always, I'm available if you have a special case, if you just want to get my opinion on something. I have been through 2 6-year reviews, 5 3-year reviews, and 100 Board of Revision for my own personal portfolio. They're very straightforward, but you really have to know what your argument is, and you want to make sure you're not basing your argument on something that they are just immediately discount and refuse to consider. That arm's length transaction being the big elephant in the room. You want to make sure you can explain why this is unique and different. Also, if you're going to use comparables, comps, you have to make sure those are arm's length transactions. If they were if it was a bank foreclosure, then that price is, in their view, artificially depressed and can't be used. So that is the straightforward explanation of why there's a letter in the mail. This is just kind of the digestive cycle of being a real estate investor, is recognizing your property value. It's a double-edged sword. The government wants to let you know that you've made money. That's lovely, but they're also going to begin kind of changing your taxes. The last tidbit is there is a Homestead Act, and I'm not positive that it is granted through to investors, but I'm also not positive that the auditor's office has a mechanism to know who is not a homeowner, just because their mailing address may not be the home. They still might be a homeowner. So according to the Homestead Act in the state of Ohio, they are not allowed to raise the property taxes any more than 30%. I don't pretend to be able to interpret that law. However, there's a mechanism, it's on the back of this glorious form, that explains that just because they crank your property taxes, in the suburbs, for example, we're looking at like $100,000 increases. You're not going to see that commensurate increase in your property taxes. There's a cap on how much it can affect the current tax burden. As there are new levies that come into effect, those will be multiplied by the current property value. But this increase is not supposed to result in an immediate increase in money coming out of your pocket for the January and then July half cycle for your regular property taxes. So, any questions? I look forward to chatting and discussing them with you. Otherwise, as always, we appreciate you investing in Toledo, and we appreciate your trust in LaPlante Real Estate. Thank you.